everybody out there in YouTube land, ladies and gents. I know I kind of changed it up a little bit, didn't I? Anyhow, I'm on the I-5 crawl. The reason I call myself the Mad Hatter, because this just gets into my blood. Anyhow, I was making some videos, and I was wanting to introduce my new co-host here pretty quick, but timing is just exactly what it is. It's timing. Got to get caught up with all the other stuff. Anyhow, I'll get Rena on here, don't worry. Saturday we've got a time that we're gonna see if we can put together a quick fast video and introduce you guys to her. Get some of her harping out here. Anyhow, I just wanted to get back and answer some of the comments and questions that I've been seeing on the channel. And one of them is, no, I'm not a self-hater. I love my pretty pink skin. I love my pretty pink skin when it turns tan in the summertime. I love my pretty pink skin when it turns translucent white too. All I was talking about is some history that we didn't get taught properly in schools. And I know some of you folks are out there talking about revisionist history and all this stuff. I just want the record set straight. You know, kind of like, who killed JFK? You know, if it was our government that killed JFK, or if it was the deep state of our government that killed JFK, well then, you know, I want the record set straight. And yeah, it's probably going to piss a whole bunch of people off, but that's what the truth tends to do. Pisses you off. And then you accept it, and then you go, how can we do better? Well, I was listening to another fella named Prager today, and he was talking about the difference between a liberal and a leftist. You ask any of your friends who claim to be liberal, do you want segregation in our schools again? Or do you want to be an American? Ask your liberal friends that question. Because the leftists, they want segregation again. That's why we've got all this Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, where people are being separated. They've even got an all-black graduation ceremony at Harvard. Come on, people. We are people of America. Oh, I want the history fixed. I want the truth to be told. I don't want this, oh my gosh, we can't tell the truth because it'd make us look bad. Well, you know what? Every once in a while you got to take a black eye because you open your mouth, inserted your foot, and you're choking on it. Somebody needs to pop you in the eye to get that foot smacked out of your mouth. In the meantime, I just want you guys to know that we're Americans. We put this country together, and we put a document out there that we all are supposed to consent to give us three little things: God, e pluribus unum, and number 3, liberty. If you can define what liberty is, then you understand what liberty is. If you know what Latin is, e pluribus unum, then you understand what this country is all about. And none of us really understand what God is, but to me, God is something that's much, much higher power than I am. A doorknob could be a higher power than you are. A doorknob. If it keeps you from going from one room to another, that doorknob's much more powerful than you are. E pluribus unum. It means out of many are one. Think about that. Our country is a great big melting pot, and the leftists hate that. They don't want you to know about God. That's why they're trying to kill God. And when it comes to liberty, leftists, they don't want you to have liberty. They don't want to have anybody that is on solo by themselves doing what they want to do. They don't want a baseball player, shortstop, making more money than a teacher. Well, I ask you this. How many baseball teams are in Russia? There's not. I don't know of any. Not even Major League Baseball teams. How about, I don't know, professional soccer players in Russia? I don't know any. Nope. Because they don't believe in it. They don't believe in having people out there having fun with skills that, you know, you get hundreds of thousands of people to follow you, and those skills, they get sold. I don't mind that a baseball player makes more money than I do. I don't mind it at all. In fact, I think it's kind of cool that a kid can have a dream, become a baseball player, and make more money than his dad and his grandpa and his great-grandpa ever thought about making in 1 year. Making more than those men made in their entire lives. I think it's kind of cool. Statistics are, though, that most kids aren't going to make it to the major leagues. What do they say is less than 0.5% that start out when they're little kids playing and end up making it to the major leagues and playing big-time ball. Hell, I grew up as a drummer, musician. I always had a dream of making it huge and being on record albums and people getting to watch me play the drums. Well, I got to live that dream for a couple of 3 or 4 years. Mostly part-time, but it became a full-time gig, and I made some pretty decent money back in the 90s. Playing in the bands, traveling the states. A lot of work, hell of a lot of work, and my drumming even got onto an album. So I'd say that was a pretty successful run. And I'd still like to do it again. But needless to say, less than 0.5% of musicians that start out make it to the big time. But yet we still have that opportunity out here in America. I still have that opportunity out here in America. And that's what liberty is. Having the personal will and the gumption to go out and do something with your life that you always dreamt of, and you took the step toward your dream and you made it. You can't really do that in China, now can you? You can't do that in Russia, not very easily. America is about the only place that a person can go or live or be born in where we all have the same opportunities. All of us. Depending on how hard you want to work for it, depends solely about how much you're going to get. But I can tell you this. God I know there's a God. I know there's a God just like I know there's a sky, just like I know there's a sun, just like I know there's a bunch of stars out there. Some people will tell me, oh, those stars don't really exist. They're just luminaries. I can say this, I've seen those stars with great big telescopes. They look like stars to me. Might change the way that they're put together and made based upon some of the more advanced sciences that are coming out. Like, instead of being great big nuclear furnaces, they're actually a plasma ball sparked up by electricity. Hell, I even watched this one thing today that said that they found a lightning bolt, an electrical lightning bolt. Gives off trillions and trillions of times more voltage and energy than any lightning bolt on this planet. And it's several 100,000 light years long. And in that filament, there are several stars that are lined up right next to that filament of lightning. That's just one filament of a lightning bolt out there in the universe. They don't know exactly what creates it, but I got a pretty good idea what does. And on top of that, folks, I'm going to talk about a little bit of this Ice Age thing. Anybody paying attention to what's going on over in the UK? They had a red alert, weather alert, a giant freaking Arctic storm that's coming down out of the northeast and hitting the northern part of the UK, up around Scotland. It's hitting most of the UK right now. But the shelves in the stores are empty. They had to run on the food. Hell, Kentucky Fried Chicken can't even keep the chicken in their stores over there. They ran out of chicken. And if they weren't running out of chicken, they were running out of gravy. Now, how can you have Kentucky Fried Chicken without the chicken and the gravy? You can't. But that Ice Age is coming, fellas, ladies. There ain't a whole lot that you can do about it either. Yeah, I'd kind of like to see us all stop polluting the atmosphere and those kind of things. However, I'd also kind of like to stay a little warmer for a little longer. I kind of really don't want to have to move. But it looks like we're going to have to move, because it isn't getting any warmer, and it is getting colder, and the storms are getting harsher, and that's what it does during that Ice Age. So I don't know, maybe you got a different theory about the stuff, that the earth is actually warming up, and that's why we're seeing all these terrible storms. But I got this sneaking feeling that the eddy minimum is real. That these guys that have been studying these statistics and these samples of tree rings and ice cores and all these different things that they've been looking at, how giant elephant style, like mastodons and mammoths, were just flash frozen in the tundra up in the Arctic. Flash frozen. Not like standing there chewing their cud and they got a little bit cold and then they died. No, these were flash frozen, like what you do with fish when you pull them out of the ocean so they stay fresh. These things were frozen instantaneously, like in a blast freezer. It goes from you're 40 degrees outside and all of a sudden you're 140 below zero instantly, like within minutes. Nothing can survive that, not even the woolly mammoth. There's been rumors said that they found woolly mammoths that were so well preserved that they still had food in their mouths that they were chewing, and that the meat was so fresh off of these 10,000-year-old mammoths that they were able to feed their dogs the meat from these flash frozen mammoths. So I ask you, last million years, there's been at least six major ice ages with about a 10,000 year respite between glaciations. So I'm going to keep harping on this, guys, because nobody's talking about it except for me and a couple other channels. Adapt 2030. There's another one that's out there, and it ends with 2050. People are starting to kind of, come together with their ideas about when it's going to start, when it's going to get really serious and bad. And if it's not going to get really serious and bad by 2050, well, I'm just going to stay put. So I'll be damn near 90 years old 2050. But the thing that we really have to start really thinking about what's going to happen with our kids, our grandkids, and our future generations. If we don't start teaching these kids the most important things in life, like, there's a couple things that I think every kid needs to learn how to do, and that's how to do woodworking and how to do metalworking. Because if you can do some metalworking, like, making drill bits and tools, well, then you can do woodworking, because you'll be able to make chisels and axes and hammers, all the things you need to move along. So, folks, start getting prepared for your kids and your grandkids. You better know how to make your own food, better know how to grow your own food, and that's going to take tools. Yeah, you can go out right now and buy those tools, but what happens when, it's 20, 30, 40 years in the future, and those tools that you bought today wore out or broke? You don't have a way of fixing them. Yep, well, my I-5 crawl is still crawling along. As you can see, I'm not going very fast. 60-mile-an-hour highway, and I'm crawling like 20 miles an hour, and then full stop. Yep. Want to cut down pollution? Start allowing people to stay home and work from their homes. We've got the technology today to do that. 95% of the cars out here with me only have one person in them, because we all go to different places to go to work. And we all live in different places, so we kind of have to have our own vehicle. Anyhow, I've been talking to you for about 18 minutes, and I promise you always keep these things a little bit shorter, because when I add the co-host, we're probably going to talk a little bit longer. Probably get up into the 30-minute range, but, well, I've talked to you about a couple things today. Just go back and look up, pull a coin out of your pocket. Look at those three things on a coin: God, E Pluribus, Unem, and liberty. Every one of our coins have that on it. And get to thinking about the Ice Age, folks, because it's coming. Eddie minimum. Go look that up. Start educating yourself about that, because I got a whole head full of stuff. I mean, statistics and charts, and all kinds of stuff, and I'm not going to just pull that up while I'm driving down the highway talking to y'all. So with that, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Keep your stick on the ice.